What's up, Facebook Live? TukkLive Friday nights. You'll show up this week, Moses Lake Music Festival, Saturday, September 30th. Be there or Brandon Blaney. Shout out. Okay, where are we at? Yeah, so you can go check out all this recorded. Yo, check, microphone check. Oh, we're still going there.
Just wait. I love that boy.
Yeah, sweet. Johnny Cash, the man comes around. Yes, I'm sitting here with Marty Heavyhead, mayoral candidate here in Lethbridge, Alberta, southern Alberta. Marty, when are the elections?
October 16th.
October 16th. And what do you need to be to vote?
Well, you need to be a resident of the city of Lethbridge for at least 6 months, and you'll need ID or proof of address.
Like a bill or something?
Yeah, like a couple pieces of mail that match your ID, and or ID with the Lethbridge address on it, and proof that you've been resident for at least 6 months.
Okay, great.
Oh, you also got to be a citizen.
Okay, Canada?
Yeah, so you could live in Lethbridge for 6 months and not be a citizen, but you got to be a citizen. Oh yeah.
I don't know.
There's plenty of students that come here for 4-year degree and they don't have citizenship, but they live as residents. So,
okay. There's the math right there. All right, so what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna have a little bit of fun. I'm just gonna take a step back, and Mr. Morton Heavyhead Jr. here is gonna. We're done with our interview, so he's gonna give you a bit of a campaign speech. So I'm just gonna step back and.
How long?
Just 30, 40 minutes.
Really?
I'm just kidding. Just give us a couple minutes. We'll give us a short little monologue. Ladies and gentlemen, Morton Heavyhead.
A little bit of me got like all excited, and then the other parts were like, "Oh, that's terrifying."
It is. It really is.
A little bit of me. Now I can actually hear myself talking. So, well, pretty well summing up what I had said in the newspaper and on Global was that there's, I actually got the numbers wrong. There wasn't 600 women that were turned away from the women's shelter. There's actually much, much more than that. It was more of like 1,500 women turned away. Wow. And so that, again, what kind of society are we living in where this has to happen? Because there's most of these, not most of them, but a lot of the women there, they're running from abusive relationships. So if you, picture this, you go to, what if you move to the city? You move to Lethbridge, you have a kid with you, you meet your boyfriend, and everything's going good for 3-4 months, then you break up. Middle of winter. You can't go to the regular shelter. You can't go to the shelter over there on the north side because it's a very dangerous place for a lot of people. And a lot of people refuse to go there because it's such a dangerous place. So they feel dangerous. And, again, the shelter staff really, apparently they didn't like, or the people that run the shelter did not like what was said in the Where's Home documentary. Because it was said that it's unfit for human habitation. And, you go there, and I was there just a couple of days ago because last week, 2 weeks ago now maybe, there was a woman that was beaten to death just down the road over there. And so I went with my buddy over there to pick up her clothes because she had a bunch of stuff left at the shelter, and that was his, and, he knew her quite personally, so we went to go pick up her stuff. And so you go there, and it's just this concrete room with mats on the floor, and they got barely any blankets there, and everybody's addictions are going into one another, whatever's going on, their problems are overlapping, and so it ends up being a very, very dangerous place. Thievery, beatings, rape, this, all this stuff is going on there, and it's very, very high voltage, and it's frightening, and the shelter staff can only do so much. From what I understand is that they used to have the drunk tank at the jail, but the jail is provincial. So the jail was out there, east side of Lethbridge. From what I was told is that they got rid of that, and so they don't have that place. They have single holding cells at the police station, but they don't have that big old drunk tank anymore. And so now people are just kind of being dropped off at the shelter, to go and dry out. Like there's no, and it's not even dry out because opiates you get very, very aggressive when you go through withdrawals from those. So, this is a larger problem than people are really understanding or willing to admit because, maybe your listeners know a lot about that. Maybe your listeners have experienced a lot about this. But then, your average white folks out here in Lethbridge are sitting at home watching Netflix, going out to do happy things and live happy lives. And, I went shopping over at the mall. And, we're planning to we're going to Mexico. We're going to go to Cancun. And then, the other people are, oh, yeah, we're saving up, eh? We're going to go bring our canoe down to Barbados. We're going to go on a vacation. Nice vacay. Hey, take a selfie. So you got these people that are doing that, living that kind of sort of oblivious life to the rest of the world. Whereas what's going on in the city is a lot. This is something that we need to really, truly, meaningfully address 100%. So that's one of the main, there has to be a political will to do that, and for the most part, there's actually two other candidates. I was really surprised by this. There's two other candidates who are willing to talk about homelessness, at least two of the, I think it's 29 this round. Nobody talked about it last one because everybody when they run on like the bricks, the dollars and cents, what's going to be run by city administration anyway. They talk about, I'm going to talk about taxes and I'm going to talk about how how I'm going to make the businesses run more efficiently and I'm going to be I'm just going to be number one for your choice. Vote for me because I know how to get business done. Like you get a lot of people talking like that, and so city administration is it's a pretty effective bureaucracy. They're running a whole lot of stuff that business will be done no matter who's in there. So you have the directors who are city council. They're the ones that have the political will on saying, well, this is what we're going to work on. This is where we're going to move this to. So there has to be a political will to address these things. And a lot of these politicians, too, they scapegoat responsibility onto the provincial government and the federal government. It's like, oh, that's not within the jurisdiction of the municipal government. That's a federal matter or that's a provincial matter. And like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Sure. Then that's a provincial matter, that's a federal matter. But when you really get down to it, there's 100,000 people or so that live within the boundaries of what we're calling this city upon Blackfoot territory. There's this history of colonization and settlers. This necklace that I have, this is an Iniskim, eh? And this is a fossil. And so one of the sacred sites that's in southern Alberta was archaeologically dated. And they went down about 9 feet into the ground and they found offerings. And they were able to date how old the site is by these offerings. And what they're able to date was somewhere between 6,000 and 9,000 years old. You found these offerings. And at the very base of it, what was found there was one of these, an Iniskim. So 6,000 to 9,000 years ago, we were using these, and we still use them today. I have one around my neck, and that was found at the very base of that. So when you think about that, that's like 6,000 to 9,000 years. That's older than the pyramids. That's older than Stonehenge. That's 4,000 years before Jesus. And so when they talk about the historic downtown Lethbridge, this historic building downtown Lethbridge, 100 years old is, oh yeah, my great grandfather was 114 when he died. So you're telling me about your historic building, are you? The history of people going down here at least 10,000 years. So when we have this very, very rich history, but at the same time, with the residential school trauma, the last one in Canada was closed in 1996. The one on the reserve was closed in 1988. And one of the crazier things about it is some of the teachers who started off when it was a residential school are still teaching on the reserve. They're still teachers. That's kind of a crazy thing to think about. This is not something that's way historical. My great-great-grandfather, not my great-great, but my great-grandfather, I met him in 1988, and he was born when they were still hunting buffalo. My uncle, Adolf Hungerle, in one of his books, he interviewed one of the guys who went on the last buffalo hunt. And that he was an old man when he interviewed him, but that was like, what, 1960s? So there's this history that it's not hundreds of years ago. This, these timelines blend into the present, and the reverberations of the past are very, very much alive today. And they exist within us. They exist within this space. So at any rate, going all back to that, this is not something that your average voter is really cognizant of. Like they leave their house and their isolated house, for some reason, we're taught to be individualistic and isolated psychologically in the society, in a capitalistic society. Like there's a lot of reasons why we're taught to pull up our own socks, step on grandma's neck for $1, dog-eat-dog world. So when we pull back and look at this, the reality is we all live here together. And colonizers aren't going anywhere. And I don't want them to go anywhere. I like them. My ex-wife was a big 6'2" Polish woman, Polish-German. And when I first saw her, one of the very first things I said to her was, "My name is Martin Heavyhead, and one day I'm going to marry you." And she said, "Okay." And I love her very much. And for whatever reason, we can't be together. But that's something beautiful. And it's something that's part of me. That's something part of my life. And there's a lot of people here that I just absolutely love. There's a little old lady who's a nun that I know. And she's probably one of the brightest bright lights I've ever met, of all people I've ever met. Little old lady who's a nun. So I don't want colonizers to go anywhere. I don't want settlers to go anywhere. I want them to indigenize infrastructure. I want them to be more like us. Because what we've been doing, like them, has been killing us and killing the planet for a long time. We can still save this place. We can. Like the Earth isn't ending. The Earth isn't on a final destruction. We're not going to colonize Mars. Give up on that. Give up on colonizing space. What we need to do is reorganize what we're doing here, and we can do it easily. We can have that awesome, loving city of the future that we dream about. And it takes work from both ends. It takes abandoning that kind of dog-eat-dog world mentality. Like we have to do something better. And it takes a political will to do that. It takes an imagination to do that. And I'll have both of those things.
I just want to say thank you. Thanks for coming on the show this evening. I really do appreciate it. I actually just got a hold of Marty just like yesterday. I just got a hold of him. I didn't think, with his big celebrity status, Hollywood over here would come on my show. So I really do appreciate it. What's next? You're gonna be chief, grand chief, prime minister. What you running for next?
I actually thought I might. I'm actually surprised I'm still alive. So yeah, this is all a gift right now. I kind of thought it would be. So here I am.
But you know what? You should just become a senator and challenge Patrick Brazo to a fight in the ring.
I can't. A ceremony rule that we have is if I fight, I got to fight to the death.
I still want to fight you, Brazo. Anyways, we're going to take a short break. I'm going to play one more song for you. And we got Courtney from Beat Route Magazine. Lovely Courtney. We're going to have a few words, some serious talk now. We're just going to talk about Beat Route Magazine and what she does, interesting stuff. So what do you want to hear before you go? What do you want to play for the lovely listeners out there?
Oh, man. I thought I would only plan for those two songs. All right. Let me. What's a good one? What's a good song? Just wait. There's songs I love. Oh.
What's your campaign song? When you win and you're standing there on stage.
Oh, I'm going to use The Man Comes Running. That's what I want to do. Oh, really? But let's do something different. How about for my uncle? Yeah. My uncle, I love my uncle very much. We don't get to see him anymore. My Uncle Narcissus. In Dreams from Roy Orbison.
In Dreams, Roy Orbison going up to the late great Narcissus Bud.
My favorite quote from him is that, what did he say? He said, "It doesn't matter, the barriers of colonization don't matter. It's the barriers they left in the mind that do."
Hey. All right, thanks a lot, Facebook Live. We still ain't done yet. Thanks for joining us, y'all. Marty Heavyhead, TukkLive